I mean, this is going to sound political for a moment, but we were in deep trouble under the Biden administration. And Kamala Harris had vowed to follow Biden's policies to a T. So it would have been, if we had continued, it would have been a nightmare. And I say this as a lifelong Democrat from a family that always voted on the blue ticket. I grew up in Massachusetts. I voted for Obama. And of course, I voted for Biden the first time around because I was a Democrat. And then when I saw what the Biden-Harris administration did in terms of shutting down free speech, especially for scientists and healthcare professionals, and then sending tens of billions in direct military aid to Israel's, slaughter of the Palestinians, and then the Russian-Ukraine conflict, the sending tens of billions there, I no longer recognized the Democratic Party that I had grown up with. And, Bobby Kennedy has talked about it in a very similar way. I highly recommend his book. I'm trying to remember. I think it's called American Values or something like that. But he talks about, all of this. And then his letter to liberals is another great little book that he wrote that explains how people were deceived over the past few years, past 5 years. So we've seen a lot of major changes thanks to his becoming secretary. And I had the great honor of speaking with him on the phone for 33 minutes back in early 2023. He's one of the most scientifically literate individuals you'll ever find who does not have a PhD. He's really brilliant. He also has, I think, tremendous compassion, when it comes to issues around personal growth and healing, because he's in his own personal life, he went through incredible hardship, the murder of his father and his uncle, and, what followed for him as a young man, which I'm not going to go into. But in the past 4 months, I would say Kennedy, the first thing that he accomplished, which I think is incredibly important based on what I just talked about at the opening of this conversation, is that he removed the COVID mRNA shots from the childhood vaccine schedule. And I can explain the implications of that from the standpoint of safety if you want, or did you want to make a comment?
All right, go ahead. Yes, the more clarification will be good.
Yeah. So when you remove the COVID shots, we could talk. Yeah, I think we should call them COVID shots. Because we talk about flu shots. So I'll simply refer to these mRNA vaccines as COVID shots. But anyway, removing them from the childhood vaccine schedule due to serious safety concerns, which have been widely published, cardiac problems, problems with the heart, brain, all these neurological problems, autoimmune problems, hematological clotting problems, and so forth. Removing them from the schedule can translate into some major benefits for the public. And I think, first, of course, you're prioritizing the safety of children. So you're reducing the risk of all kinds of adverse effects. One that we're going to talk about in a moment, because the paper I just had published, is myocarditis, which is damage and inflammation of the heart muscle. And then you've got childhood lymphomas that were linked to these shots. Serious.
What ages do they come up at?
For kids, typically these are kids in their teens who are developing these lymphomas. And we think that a key part of that is a combination of removing the brakes on the lymphomas, like the tumor suppressor genes that are typically involved in keeping the brakes on the growth of those, and at the same time activating the Epstein-Barr virus, which is so common in children. And then there's other factors, but there are DNA contaminants in there that could be explaining the cancers as well. And then you've got a whole range of neurological complications that are affecting these kids, like seizures and strokes, Bell's palsy, which is facial paralysis, the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is also, typically a very rare thing, but it's shown up a lot in the last 5 years. It's a horrible disorder where the body's immune system attacks the nerves and, causes muscle weakness and paralysis, sometimes paralysis. And, it causes tingling in the hands and feet, and it can result in a great deal of pain, as well as, difficulty breathing and swallowing. So this is a disabling nightmare, and it's happened to kids who were perfectly healthy before the COVID shots.